Hello and welcome to the channel where we learn to speak pidgin in 2 weeks. If this is your first time here, could you please subscribe, like the video if you like it, and we'll see how it goes. So for today, I'm going to talk about personal pronouns. I call it personal pronouns, but it includes all the I, my, mine, possessive, otherwise. So I think it's rather important because you cannot converse in any language without being able to situate yourself separate from other people, groups of people, and things like that. And to say who owns what. Actually, it's not very true, but I think a lot of life is about ownership. Who owns what? I think that's the issue of the world. Who owns what? And that's what colonialism was all about. They came to... Anyway, I'm not going to talk about that. That's very controversial. Okay, so let's dive right in. So here we go. We're going to talk about personal pronouns. I'm sure you remember the definitions from back in your school days. And like I said before, we are not very concerned about definitions and all those complicated words. We're just going to use... So it's like a pidgin in action, the way you say things in everyday life without knowing what they are called. I'm sure lots of people can speak languages fluently without knowing the different parts of speech and things like that. So here we go. We're going to start with I, my, mine. Okay? We're going to talk about the pronouns in the first person. So that's I, my, and mine. So quick learning point here. Actually, the way somebody pronounces I, my, and mine in pidgin, actually, it gives away where they're from and how they approach the language. So I, it's ah. So there's no I kind of diphthong there, it's just ah. So I want, or more likely I want. We don't pronounce it T. So say I want something. You know that guy speaking pidgin. If it's just I want something, you know they're speaking English with a pidgin intonation. You get understood, but you'll miss out when somebody is talking very fast. So you need to know how it actually sounds like. So my is ma. So take away the Y and you add an A. So my book. My pencil. And then ownership, we use my own. There are times when you can hear people actually join the Y and the O and they say my own or my own. But it's my own. You can say my own, people understand you. But to be a real pidgin, you say my own. So you can say, I like Gary and okra soup. Means I like Gary and okra soup. Nami, nama Gary and okra soup that. That's my Gary and okra soup. That Gary and okra soup, na my own. Na my own Gary and okra soup, that's mine. There are times when you can use my own to show that's my share. I think, especially if where there are loads of it's okay, now my own that. It means that everybody has theirs and this is mine. I think it's because in pidgin we like sharing. Since I want to share, now my own this. I'm making a difference between my own and your own. So my own, your own. And when we come to the second person singular, you'll say that. So when I say I say ah. Mine, I say ah. Mine is my own. Now my own that. Okay, that's us done for the first person. And now we move on to the second person. So we move now to the second person singular. And if you see, it's very similar to the first person singular. So you, your, and yours. So the you becomes you, no change there. But your becomes ya, and yours becomes ya own. So somebody's hungry, I could ask them, you the hungry? So note the D. The D is to situate things in the present, in the here and now. You the hungry? Are you hungry? Now you chop that. That's your food. Also note, we'll come back to that later, chop. In pidgin English, it's food. I think now in English it's used predominantly to show chopping things up, cutting things. But I'm sure when you eat, you do chop up the food in your mouth. So, yeah, you are. Now you chop that. And then yours. That chop, now your own. It is yours. That food is yours. That chop, now your own. So, you, yeah, and your own. So I've skipped to the third person plural. The reason for that is it's because the first person plural. The third person singular is quite easy, so we'll come back to that. But that is we, us, and ours. It's there are loads of blurred lines in pidgin for this. So we can say we. We can use we like us. I can say like this. There's a popular Nigerian song which goes like, "Now we they here." So now it's us. We are here. I can say now we father that. Now we papa that, which means that's our father. So it's even the we. Some people pronounce it woo. So we can be we, but remember you can also use we as our. So, but the distinction which is there is that we can say it's when it comes to ours. You say now we own, now we are own, now we own. So those are we is funny like that. We are funny like that. So we could be we, woo. Some people might even say we are. It depends on the language community. I actually discovered that when I was quite young. I had friends who lived in a different part of town, and they would say, "Oh, woo papa." It means their dad. They call their dad woo papa. But while where I live, we'll say we are papa or we papa. So just remember that. If you remember that we are own or we own or we are own, who own, you're fine. Then we are. You can use it in how which way you say fit. So we don't talk, say no. Means we have said no. Also note, we'll come back to that. There's a belief that there are no tenses in pidgin. There are. So the done situates something in the past. So we don't talk, so it means that they said so in the past. D is like the present. We did talk, so we are saying so now. So we don't talk, so we don't talk, say no. So that's we said no in the past. Now we can say we will. Now we book that. Now we are booked that. It's our book. Oh, now we get that book. So that's another way of ownership. We get is used to denote ownership. So that's the third first person plural. It's not very complicated. Just remember we. It's very similar to English. We are, who. I think when you're talking in a particular language community, you would know how they use it, where they say who or we are. Or some people say our. Like I said, pidgin is it's not codified. People say it anyway they say fit. But you will be understood. So that's very important. So now we're going to move on to the next one, which is the third person singular. That's because it's very interesting. Okay, so that's first person plural done. Move on to the next one. So now the third person singular, which I escaped, coming back to it, I find this very interesting because it reflects the languages from which pidgin has pulled its influences. So in most African languages, there is no distinction between male and female in terms of the pronouns. So they use the same words. So pidgin has also copied that. So you can say, in Cameroon, we'll say E. It talks say, he says that. She will be E talk say. I think in Nigeria they use him or him. Him talk say. That or him is just it's he or her. And then we also use it to hers and his, and so na book, na own book that, na same thing. So it talk say that book na own, na book that. So now, remember now is just it is. So that's why I left it to last. It's quite simple. Going back to what I think this is one of the reasons for learning pidgin. If you understand that in pidgin, there's no differentiation between her and him. You understand why the times when you're talking to someone who comes from a pidgin background, and they'll mix up their male and female. That's his book, that's her book, or that's she or him. They would get that mixed up. It's because two levels. The traditional languages don't distinguish those, and then pidgin doesn't. So it makes you understand. Even when they're speaking in English, they'll make those I don't know, they're mistakes. Well, they're just using a pidgin structure in English. Just the way English people will use English structure in pidgin. It's the same thing. So that's that. We're going to move to the last one. I think this thing has been running for too long. I intend to make these things very short. So kind of 50 minutes chunk. So okay, see you to the next line. We're going to look at the you plural, and then we look at they. The you plural is very, very interesting because the deviation from English is very marked. I don't know where these words come from, maybe from the Portuguese or the Spanish. But in you plural is una. Una, collective you. And so it's pronounced una. I listened to an American speaking pidgin recently, and he was saying una. Now una is not it, it's una. The emphasis, the stresses are important. So you and yours, we use the same words. Una or una own. Just like we've done for all the other pronouns. So that una chop that. Na una chop. That's your food. Another interesting thing where pidgin deviates, not really deviates, because I'm sure in Old English, chop probably meant what it means now in pidgin. And of course, when you eat, you chop up the food in your mouth anyway. You masticate it, you break it down. So food is chop. That would I chop that. Na una own chop that. But it doesn't really matter. But when you say na una own chop that, it usually means that everybody else has had their own share. So when you go to a party late and say, I don't keep on my own chop, it's mostly because of that. Okay, this is the last in this series. I'm going to make the videos very short so you can just pick on one thing and stay with it and run with it. So they, them, theirs. That's also very easy. Earlier I said that pidgin, the TH sound is made redundant. It becomes a D. So they becomes them. Their. Them. You can use their book, them book. Not them book that. In where I grew up, that's what I would say. Not their chair that. So a chair, we pronounce it chair. So not them own chair that. So them own ownership. So you see, it's quite easy to pick up. Drop the th and you're good. So I think that's all I have to say about personal pronouns. There's no way you can speak any language without having to use one of those. So it's very important you kind of come to grips with that. And I was going to point out something, I've forgotten where it was. But it was the pronunciation. Or something I thought about earlier. If you know, one of the good things about learning Pidgin, it's not your mother tongue, it makes you actually understand people who were brought up in Pidgin when they speak in English. So if a Pidgin speaker says, "That's my share," when they mean chair, you would know what they're talking about because that's how we pronounce it in Pidgin. So anyway, thanks for listening to this very short pronunciation. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And thanks again. If you haven't subscribed, do subscribe. And don't forget to tell me in the comments what things you want me to talk about. If there are things you think are important in your Pidgin journey, do say that. And also, if I know people from different countries, from Ghana, from Nigeria, from Cameroon, Sierra Leone, would have different variations to these words, a lot of these words. So it would be nice to hear those. Okay, thank you. See you soon. Bye.